And welcome everyone to the Man Cave. I am Paul Knapp, and I will be your host for tonight's show. This is episode number 36, and it is sponsored by Pabst Blue Ribbon, naturally brewed America's premium beer since 1844.
The quality always comes through.
A lot to look forward to. I've got a Pabst Blue Ribbon on my mind. Pabst.
Well, and that just blew you out of focus. You got beer goggles on now.
Now wait a minute. Maybe that's the beer I'm drinking is why he's out of focus.
Let me do that again.
He's still out of focus.
Right there. Oh, man.
Hey, you got a Pabst?
He's still blurry as crap, Paul.
I know what I do.
Come on, dude. Clean that camera.
It's not the camera. I don't know. Out of focus. So let me do my introductions like this so I don't blow everybody up. Waiting in the green room tonight is our special guest, Scott Wilde. Scott is the owner and operator of G.I. Joe Rescue and has been collecting G.I. Joes pretty much all his life. He has an interesting story about his G.I. Joe collection from his younger brother, but I'm going to let him tell you that story. Let's see. Oh, in addition, he's a huge Slapshot movie fan, and I'm very excited to have him on tonight. As always, I like to give out a channel plug. Tonight is Inspector 6262 Mike B. He hasn't posted anything in a long time, but if you guys are interested in vintage G.I. Joes, definitely check out his channel, okay? He's from Pittsburgh. A lot of people know him, so I'd like to thank all my subscribers, and 3 of my newest subscribers are Floyd Williams, James Lucas, and Third Degree Terror. Next week, our special guest will be Chuck, and I know I'm going to screw up his last name, Kuriachko. Is that right? Anybody know him? He's a G.I. Joe customizer, and he is the winner of last G.I. Joe Atlanta customized figures. So, and he also has a blog called Action Figure Almanac. So, if anybody checks them out, please do so. Now, let's get started with our introductions for tonight.
There we go.
Let's see. You know what? You chimed in first, so I'm going to put you up first there, buddy.
All right.
I'm going to try to figure out why my camera's effed up. So. All right. Let me find you. If you have a problem. No, that's the wrong one. There we go. There you are. Medic Mike. Back in this man's day, they didn't have cup holders in cars. You had to hold your beer between your legs. This is Medic Mike, a.k.a. Mike Bowinski. Woo!
Hey, folks. Woo! And I saw that meme the other day, dude. I know where you stole that from.
Oh, my camera's really out of whack tonight. All right, Mr. Igner, you're up next, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Let's see if your camera's in focus. This guy makes it mandatory for all his students to watch the entire collection of G.I. Joe cartoon series before they take his class. This is Mr. Jim Igner.
Howdy. That's better than last time, Paul.
You didn't like the drag queen?
Oh, it was all epic. It was great.
And we got somebody new tonight to the panel. This gentleman right here. It took 3 devices, 1 computer class, and a 12-year-old to show this man how to use the internet. We finally got him on the live stream show. This is Mr. Rick Bradshaw.
At last.
Yeah, finally got him on. And we got a duo here sharing the screen tonight. This man has his finger on the Hasbro pulse. We refer to him as Mr. Google for G.I. Joe knowledge. This is Sergeant Van. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. This man's artwork will soon be on display in the Smithsonian. At least we hope to have it there soon. This is Jake Van, a.k.a. Can we call him a private or PFC? Is he a PFC?
He's a recruit.
He's a recruit, man. Welcome aboard, Jake.
Man, the very little words.
I was just gonna say, man.
Words.
Man, a few words there, man. A few words. So, all right. Well, we're gonna go
Paul,
around.
you're gonna do this whole show blurry, huh?
Is it still blurry? Yeah, it is still blurry, man. See, I thought that was my eyes the whole time. I don't know. I guess the minute I put that beer up there.
Beer's in focus.
Beer's in focus.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
I gotta get this close to be in focus. What's for that $150 camera I just bought, huh?
Probably going to have to log out and log back in.
Well, I finally got good internet tonight. I don't want to chance that. If I do go out while you guys are talking, just keep talking, okay? Hey, Medic Mike, I'm going to start off with you, buddy. I'm going to bring you up big here. Tell me what's new at your zoo.
Okay, nothing too spectacular. Been doing a little bit of simple stuff. I got, let's see, I got some barrels and bayonets from Sam Burchett. Been fixing a bunch of old M1s. And I got really irritated that my air police guy did not have an armband, so we're messing around with this kind of stuff. And let's see here, over here on the table, you may see that helicopter body and that MSV. That's part of the project that's upcoming. So, nice. And that's what's going on for now.
Is anybody we know printing some 3D printed stuff for that?
There might be a guy around here somewhere who knows how to do that. Yeah.
Speaking of 3D printing, what you got going if you can't tell us the secrets behind that MSV?
Yeah, I can't say much about that. I'm printing a couple of things for Mike on that one. Oh, and this might be something of interest. Can y'all make that out?
Yeah.
Yep. Helicopter winch ring.
I was going to say, it looks like a,
Yeah. I guess that's kind of one of the things I've been working on here recently. Finally got, I don't know if you can make that out.
Damn, those look good, Jim.
About ready to go live with those dudes.
I was going to say, I need a couple of those.
I don't know if you can make that out or not.
Training tower bar.
Yep. Let's see what else is going on.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good today.
No, that's for the tractor.
Troubleshooter. Yeah.
Yep.
I hadn't figured out how to do the black dots on this thing. I'm not sure what to. I don't know if you put stickers on it or
paint it on there.
Paint
it, but anyway.
I think they're painted on there originally.
Yeah. That's a little set I'm working on. I don't know if you can make it out or not. It's the radio.
Hold it up a little higher, would you?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there we go. Now I can see it better. Okay. Bear trap from Jungle Survival.
Yeah, and then one of the custom carriers.
Ooh. Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Well, that's a lie. I got tons of other stuff going. Just don't have them back here where I can show it. So, yeah, there we go. That's what we got.
All right. And I know you're new to the panel, sir. So what would you like to tell us about your G.I. Joe collection and what you're doing right now?
Well, mostly what I'm doing is trying to continue to develop the photography end of it. And it's not just G.I. Joes I shoot all kinds of figures. You can see them all back here. That's, it's fractured. But I used to do a lot of customizing on the Joes. So I wanted to show this guy off.
Oh, dang.
Oh, cool.
Perfect time of the year for that.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
And what he is I did this a couple years ago. And what he is this is a Barbie Beauty and the Beast. Okay.
Oh, wow.
He's fully flocked. He comes that way. But he has about 7 points of articulation. Not enough.
Mm-hmm.
What I did was I cut off the feet, I cut off the arms, and of course the head. The head just fits over the Joe head. But this is a super articulated body. So he has all the movement he needs.
Oh, my.
Okay. Cool.
Double jointed knees, double jointed elbows. If you're familiar with SA Joes.
Yeah.
It's a CC bod, right?
Nope. SA. Super articulated. Not a classic.
Something different than the classic collection super articulated guy?
Yeah. Some of them, they made them towards the end of the line because they were trying to compete with Dragon.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But
I've got a few like that. Yeah.
It was too late. There's what's the Xenome, Planet Xenome? Those are super articulated guys inside that suit. And I know most of the sets that have them. But anyways, that's something I did, I think a couple years ago. Probably the last one I did. But I have a thing about articulation. Angelo would understand. You gotta be able to move the guys. You gotta, if
you're making decent pictures, you gotta.
Yeah, especially if you're a photographer. Yeah.
And that's Jacob probably understands that's one of the big things is posing. You got to be able to pose those figures and bring them to life, And then if you've got semi-decent photography skills, even better. But that's about it for right now.
Very cool. Let's bring in the dynamic duo here. Who wants to go first?
He can go
You can
first.
go first.
All right, Dad, you're up.
Yeah, I don't really have anything cool to show you, like physically. Or maybe I could just grab something. Here, everybody else has got something cool. Here, check this out.
Yeah.
No, anyways, we're always working on stuff like mad scientists.
Yeah.
And I've been focusing mainly on music lately, kind of away from the Joes a little bit, but I've been incorporating the Joes and the music together. If you guys have seen any of my posts that I've done over the past couple days.
Dude, I kept all the music that you sent me, man. I just
Nice.
so need to use it in some of my videos.
Exactly.
And Jake, what do you got new, man? You're the artist.
Yeah,
I've
I've just been developing the toy photography a bit. I just did a General Grant versus General Lee photo shoot. I think it's turned out pretty good, and I'm getting those photos out. Might turn them into prints. I'm not really sure right now. I should have new prints at Joanna. Those are looking very great, and that's about all that I've been up to right now.
I got one of your prints on my desk right now under the glass. I believe it was you. The Thunderball one with the G.I. Joe head with the underwater. Yeah. Was that his?
Yeah, that would be his print.
That was me.
Oh, your print? Okay. I knew it was one of you guys. Yeah. Because I bought it at the table in at the Harrisburg show.
Nice.
All right. Very cool, man. I'm glad to get everybody together here, man. Everybody knows each other. I think I'm the odd guy out right now. Yeah, so.
Well, you're not blurry anymore, so
Yeah, you're not blurry.
Well, I did
Okay,
log
better.
off and log back in. So now I'm down here on the bottom with the cool kids. So.
also if you're in this corner over here, then
that's the wrong
that's the
spot.
guy in charge corner. I got
Does that mean I'm in charge now? That's sweet. Cool.
That's usually Angelo's spot. So you got to look at the chats and let me know if people are asking questions. So
No, I can't see
We
the
got,
damn chats.
we got 9 people on board. We got Big Boss Jack in the house. Play Scale Soldier. He's always here. Thank you. Representing Canada as always. Mr. Eddie Burton. How you doing, sir? I have that second box heading out to you tomorrow, Mr. Eddie Burton. So hang tight. Let's see who else is in here. So, well, if you have any questions for our special guests, but bring those in as we're going through this. But I'm about to bring in our guest now. So, and I do have an introduction for you, Mr. Scott. So don't jump in real quick. If you have a problem with a Joe, if no one else can help, and if you can find him, maybe you can hire Scott Wilde. It's an honor and a privilege, sir, to have you on the show finally. How are you tonight?
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. As I talked to you earlier, we met once in Harrisburg. That was the first time we made a connection, and then again in the Kentucky show. I didn't make it to Joe Atlanta, but hope to see you in Dallas this year. I think a lot of us are going to go to the Dallas show.
I'm going to try to make it to Dallas, but it all depends. I keep trying to hit Greg Brown up for a motel room and maybe $10 a day to eat, and he keeps shutting me down. So
he's known to do that. All right, so before we get started with the questions tonight, Ace told me that he guarantees that he will have more views on the live stream than you will have on your live stream. So I checked earlier, and there was 182 views that Ace had from last week. So you got to beat that over the next 7 days. All right, brother?
if you say so.
Be entertaining. It'll help.
Firstly, I think Ace sent out the link to like all his family relatives and made them watch it and stuff like that. So that's how he got the main numbers. But you feel free to do that. You can send that out the minute the show's over. So I'm going to bring you in with the rest of the guests, and Jim Magner's always starts it off with the questions because I know he's got 100 of them. So go ahead, Jim. I know
Oh,
you got.
Yeah, what's
man.
Lewinsky doing here? You told me he wasn't going to be here.
Well,
Yeah, he's not
Ha
supposed to-
ha, he lied.
Yeah, all right, you'll pay the price, brother.
I said Angelo was iffy. So not. But you know Jim Egner. You know Mr. Egner.
Oh yeah, Jim is great.
Yeah. And we got your scuba diving instructors down there on the,
Yeah.
on the left.
My
You know-
understudies. Oh yeah.
What's pump
Jake said he
time?
taught you everything he knows.
I am Lloyd Bridges to their Nemo.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Jim. Ask the first question for tonight.
Should I? I don't know. Let's see.
Do it.
You got a brother, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gregory.
He tells all kinds of.
He owes you money too.
Yeah. Scott's asked me to help him out a couple of times on some speaker parts for his talker restoration. So it's a top secret thing. I can't say much about it, but yeah, that's it. That's it right
out
there.
in the open media now, Jim.
Oh, okay. We let the cats out of the bag then. So I was going to ask you just kind of a private question there, but how's that working?
Well, I was going to put in a plug for you, and as I told you earlier, you should be marketing these on Etsy because I have found that doubling the speaker disc on the speaker with a tiny, minute amount of super glue essentially will raise the volume of the talk unit from 50% probably up to 75%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because the framework of the talk units, some of them shrink, or the rest of the Joe shrinks, and doubling of the speaker disc, as I call it, essentially brings it into closer contact with the needle armature, which makes it louder, which people like.
Yes.
Yep.
I have to
Okay,
second that. After second that, I got a few of Jim's pieces there too, and it does work exactly as Scott's saying. Good call.
Well, it's good to know you paid attention to at least one thing I told you.
You think I pay attention to anything you tell me?
I said this last week. These two are going to be like running the show. We might as well log off and let them two talk the rest of the day. Sergeant Van, I know you work at every convention with this guy, but you got any questions for him or anything that you want to tell? Maybe some stories you might want to tell us about this guy.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, please.
No
Go ahead.
stupid stories. Not
Come on,
happening.
Come on.
There's got to be something that the general public doesn't know about this guy.
No, I had to sign a disclosure.
You guys are working at almost every convention together, right? Most of the time.
Yeah, we do, and it's always a blast. But we can't talk about what happens there.
Oh, okay.
We always get in trouble, but somehow they always invite us back.
Exactly.
And Jake, you got nothing to say about this guy other than
I know that I know nothing. That's all I'll say.
God.
Jake is actually trying, to my admiration, to get into several military officer candidate training programs across the services in the next year or so. And he's counting on me to write him letters of recommendation. So he doesn't want to say one word.
Oh, my.
One word. You got that one, right, Jake?
Yeah, I got that one.
Yeah.
No comment.
All right. Anybody else? Questions? Rick, you got anything for our guy before I start?
I got maybe some questions for Jacob.
Oh, yeah.
But I can wait. Oh, Jake, do you strictly shoot Joes, or do you shoot any other kind of action figures?
A couple of years ago, I was getting into the Black Series, but right now it's strictly GI Joe, and typically 60s GI Joes, maybe 70s, but that's about all I do right now.
And do you concentrate on, I'll call them portrait shots or single shots mostly? Because I think that's what I've seen, as opposed to like several guys in a shot.
Yeah, it's between 1 and 3 figures and the shot at the same time. I haven't gotten to, some people are having like 20 figures in one shot. I haven't gotten to any of that stuff yet.
Yeah, that's very difficult to get something like that just right. Yeah. Well, I mean, your shots are great. I love them. Love seeing them.
Yeah. Hey, I'll go ahead and ask a question. What's the first toy line you started collecting, Scott? Was it G.I. Joe or was it something else?
Well, it depends on if you say collecting versus playing with G.I. Joe. I mean, I actively played with G.I. Joe throughout grade school up until about 7th grade. And then as, adolescence comes, I more or less just put them away. And that's where my brother came in a few years later and took care of the collection for me. And then later on in the 80s, because I kept making it a point to him at family gatherings of remarking how he took 25 G.I. Joes, gave them to friends, traded for them, ran them over with a lawnmower, held ceremonial burials in my parents' backyard, the whole 9 yards, that he destroyed essentially something that'd be worth a few $100s today. Well, my first Christmas at Fort Lewis, Washington, he sent me a couple of garage sale Joes from Chicago, along with a note asking very pointedly that I quit bringing this up at family gatherings. That started the whole thing again. Pam and I had children shortly thereafter. And to give Pam a break, I'd put one in the car seat and the other on my back. We go around hitting garage sales, estate sales, flea markets on Saturday and Sunday morning. And in the 80s and into the early 90s, the Joes were still easy to find in the $15 to $30 range. And that comprised the bulk of my resurrected collection.
Nice.
So I would say G.I. Joe was the first toy that I genuinely collected after a decade of playing with them.
Any favorite G.I. Joe from the vintage era
I would say probably the very common military policeman. I mean, I took to that right away. And when I first enlisted when I was 17, I became an MP.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Jim?
Oh, I always got a question. Scott, how'd you get into talker repairs?
Poverty.
Good story.
Actually, what happened was with the advent of the collecting and the beginning of the second generation of the 12-inch action figure, I found that talkers were rather easily found mute for less than $15-20 in most places. The ones that actually talked were like over $100. And some of the repair firms that were operating at that time were charging, how can I put it, high rates.
Mm-hmm.
And after messing with a couple, I realized I could turn one around inside of about an hour. And I started charging a fragment of what the other outfits were charging. It was like $15. And I was still in the military at the time, so I advertised on a webpage called the Big Red Toy Box.
Oh yeah, remember that?
I'll fix all the G.I. Joes, $15.
Yeah.
No price for parts. I got overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then 911 occurred, and I was deployed several times, and I just didn't have time to fix all of them. So I had to give it up mostly until I retired from the military. Then I had time. But then Pam sent me out to work again. It was tired of me being around the house. So somehow my terminal leave from the military and my 4 months of bliss fixing Joes, I had to go back to work for the federal government.
Mm.
And that kind of curtailed it until I retired from that about 3 years ago. So that's what I do. And take care of my tropical fish.
You're on your third career now.
Third, fourth, yeah.
So we got somebody in the chats, Dan. Doesn't have a last name there, but He says, I can tell you a thing or two about the Wild Man.
He's a degenerate pervert. Block him.
You said block him?
Anyone who's a Maryland native, yeah. I don't want to hear from them.
Yeah, don't put Dan on.
You know too
don't
many
put Dan on
details of
video.
my personal life.
Sorry, Dan.
Nah,
Guess you're out.
Dan is okay. He's my Maryland sidekick. He tracked me down and found out I only lived a few miles from him after I returned from Bosnia in the late 90s. And he's been a constant fixture around our house, mostly rattling doorknobs and knocking on windows and, stuff like that. He's a good guy.
All right, cool. How large would you say your collection is right now? Personal collection. Do you collect much?
I've got sort of a mixed collection of Joes, just about everything that Ultimate Soldier put out, and a healthy quantity of dragons. So in terms of the total numbers of figures, I have probably around 400 intact and several containers full of body parts that look like a small, 1/6 scale morgue.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure Medic Mike has a box like that as well.
Oh, several. Unfortunately, I'm missing all the pieces that people want.
Yep.
Forearms, anybody? Who's got forearms?
Mike, Jake, anybody? Questions?
Scott, where do you keep all these figures? Are they on display or kind of boxed away?
Most of my personal collection line one room in the house in the basement, and I have no pictures immediately available, or I put one up. But it shelves on all three sides, and within that is my workbench. So if you've ever seen a picture of my room with stuff all over the floor, that's where I live during the daylight hours. But since we evicted our children from the house, I've been able to expand outside into what used to be the kids' recreational room. So it's like half the basement is aquariums, my a lifelong major obsession, and the other half has become G.I. Joes. But when the kids were growing up, well, space was a little bit tight.
Yeah.
Jake, I had a question for you referring to him. What kind of scuba diver is he?
What kind of scuba diver is he? I couldn't tell you.
Oh, I thought you were on this trip with him.
I'm not sure what station is.
No. You just throw him in the water and hope he doesn't drown?
They want to know if he's a good.
Jake has yet to undertake his underwater graduate study with me, which will consist of yanking his mask and his regulator out of his mouth 20 feet down.
See how fast he can.
Since you must pay attention to detail.
So
And
borderline Navy SEAL training, right?
I'm an advanced open water diver, and I'm also military trained.
Oh, dang.
Now it's all recreation.
Wow. All right, Jake. You got your work cut out for you, man, when you go down on that trip next. When are you guys going?
Well, I was working on this one letter of recommendation. You're screwed.
That's hilarious.
Work on that GED, kid.
Hey, Jake, don't worry. My older brother's a retired full bird colonel. He'll get you in anywhere you want to go, man. Don't worry.
Oh, I wouldn't even dare to make that promise.
Hey, as you were talking about earlier, growing up and being a kid, was there any other line that stuck out to you or favorite toy other than the Joes? I mean, would you say, or was it Joes the whole time? Like Ace last week told us it was Joes, strictly Joes all the time. But
My favorite toy up until the Joes came along when I was probably age 7, age 8 was I like toy soldiers. I had several of the Marx Battlefield sets. Then I also had several of the large battery operated toys. The Remco submarine, the Mighty Matilda aircraft carrier, the robot commando, so on and so forth. But once G.I. Joe came on the scene, it was, 100% Joe.
yeah. The toys you mentioned are still expensive. They're just like G.I. Joes, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Scott, do you repair any other lines, or is strictly the GI Joe stuff?
I experiment on other lines, much like Dr. Frankenstein. I don't always guarantee they come back to life, but I pretty much got about a 70% success rate with stuff I experiment on, like the various Action Man talking units.
Oh boy, yeah,
then,
the record player ones, the little backpack record player ones.
I fixed those. And
Oh,
then
that's
the
cool.
troubleshooter talk units, I repair those. I cracked the code on those.
Yeah.
And then my friend Danny also, he repairs the rear unit of the, not the MSV, the large yellow unit, the trailer that has the rotating light and
That's
the radar.
MSV.
That's the MSV.
The MSV, yeah.
So you were more of a, when I say vintage, I mean the 64 to 69 era. You weren't more of the Adventure Team era, right?
No, I was definitely painted hair.
Oh, yeah.
Painted hair era, because I remember the Joes appearing in the back pages of Sergeant Rock comic books.
Oh, yeah.
Woohoo! Yeah.
12-inch toy soldier. Yeehaw. And back then they weren't marketed yet. I still had to wait about 6 months until Ben Franklin carried them in the Chicago area.
Ben Franklin. Oh, I hadn't heard that toy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Five
those
Dimes
up
for a
here.
while. Yeah.
Ben Franklin 5 and dime stores, yeah.
Scott, did you ever get into Captain Action? Because that came out probably around the time you
Nah.
didn't like them.
I was never much into superheroes. Like I
They
said,
had
it was primarily my father was a veteran of World War II, and it was all the military heroes out of the comic books. I grew up on that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they did make a Sergeant Fury Captain Action.
Nah, I didn't like him. He never shaved. Gentlemen, give me about 60 seconds. I'll be right back.
Right on. Well, this is a good time to ask.
The power cut off.
This is a good time to ask Jake some of the questions if you had some there, Rick.
Here they come.
Rick, did you have any more questions for this young gentleman?
Well, Jake, where do you? I know you're selling. You can sell your prints and stuff. Where do you want to take your photography?
Where do I want to take my photography? I don't really want to take my photography anywhere. It's really just a hobby for me. I don't want to make tons of money off of it. I'm not going to make a living off photography. So I enjoy it as a hobby, but I don't want it as a job.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah, because people are always like, "Oh, you should make a book, or you should make," and I'm like, it's just for fun. I just do this for fun, and it's something for me, So
Turning something fun into work sucks a lot of the fun out of it. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So
That's how I feel about making boxes. Sucked all the fun right out of it.
And when you started
Yeah.
selling them,
yeah.
Exactly.
the any new pictures you're gonna have coming out for next year to buy? That you're selling for at your dad's stands or anything?
We're working on an astronaut. That's something I've been really wanting to do. We haven't got it 100% correct yet. We're trying to do long exposure so we can get the actual galaxy and the picture, but we haven't got it exactly right yet. So we're working on that.
So do you have your own studio, or do you go outside, or what do you use mostly for your?
I don't have my own studio. No, I just use a Canon 5D Mark III, and I just go outside and take the pictures. And most of the pictures I edit with Adobe Lightroom on my phone.
Really, use your phone more than anything.
Yeah, to edit the pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't add any super fancy special effects. I just color grade the photos and get them posted.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, I think this guy. What'd you do to your camera? You're real small now. What the hell did you do? Yeah. There you go.
Now you're real big.
Yeah. we can see your nose hairs now. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
What happened? Did your meds kick in? Did you have to go?
Hey, those
he just-
diuretics are a killer.
Yeah, he just had to part his nose hairs on the right side.
Yeah. Age is a terrible thing, man, right? Hey, any regrets with collecting over the years?
No, not really.
No?
the occasional bargain you pass by on, and then you purchase it 10 years later and it costs 5 times as much.
Been there, done that.
Oh yeah.
What's your best childhood memory playing with your toys? Doesn't have to be G.I. Joe. It could be Christmas morning or a favorite birthday.
My most memorable one didn't turn out to be the best for me, but I was never into cowboys much at all. And my grandmother gave me a Mark's Johnny West, which were very solid,
Hard
articulated
plastic,
figures. I'm sure everyone knows what they are. I got into an argument with my 5 years younger sister and hit her in the head with it. Well, Johnny West went in the trash. I got my ass kicked and was sent to my room.
Who kicked your ass? Your parents or your sister?
That's childhood memory, huh? All right.
It was a rough childhood.
Really? Chicago, right? Chicago area.
Hey, south side of Chicago.
There you go, man.
You
But
know,
as far as positive childhood memories, I remember several years of G.I. Joes and some of the larger Remco toys and stuff like that. And, it's easier time in life. And
Oh yeah, definitely.
based on my father's service, I tended to gravitate to military role models. And I think in part, G.I. Joe kind of led me to a military career. And it all worked out.
Yep.
I got one for you, Scott. Paul, this may be stealing one of your questions. I don't know.
I'm almost done. Huh?
You're already done. Okay. Where do you see the hobby going?
I actually see it continuing, but it's in the form of the artifacts that we bring to the shows that we present for resale to the next generation, because I am seeing the next generation of collectors. They're coming across, they are collecting the 3-inch Joes from the 80s and the 90s, yada, yada. But they're also noticing these very well-preserved 12-inch Joes. And I think they are starting to pick those up also, and then passing that tradition on to their children. I know there's some people who are totally fatalist, who are thinking in terms of our collections will be totally worthless inside of, face it, the parameters of our mortality as baby boomers. I don't see it as such. I think these very well-preserved examples of the 12-inch G.I. Joe line of the 60s and 70s, they're going to continue to be valued as collectibles. And I really don't think everyone should be panicking and trying to get rid of their retirement collection now. Because I believe they will hold their value, and there will be another generation who will keep it going, in the forthcoming time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. You can see the new guys in the Facebook groups. They keep pop up all the time.
Well, you and Sergeant Van are at almost every convention. I mean, do you see a change in the people coming to your tables? Is it getting younger, or is it just the old guys?
You're getting more 3 3/4 inch collectors that were born in the 80s or 90s even. I mean, even 2000s. They have no connection to that older stuff, but I mean, they are gravitating towards the good examples. I'm not saying it's all going to live on. Certain examples of it will.
I mean, your son's a good person to ask. I mean, he's 18 and he's into the 1/6 scale. We've had a couple kids on here that were, gauging them that were into the 1/6 scale. So I don't know.
So what do you think, Jacob?
I don't think it's going to be as many people as you have right now. I think that the number is going to be far lower, but I do think there's going to be a lot of people who find a lot of value in this stuff, and we just don't know what the future brings.
Yeah.
I've heard it compared to the Lionel train craze that, 20 years ago, you had a lot of guys that invested lots of money in the Lionel train, the model train hobby, and that's kind of withered and died down from its heyday. And I guess I've been collecting long enough to have seen spikes in popularity. You'd see stuff go up real high, and then it would taper off, and then it would come back up, and then it would taper. So I just was kind of curious as to kind of what your take was, because it sounds like you've been collecting as long or longer than I have. So just was kind of curious on that.
Hey, Scott, is there any holy grail that you're still looking for to complete your collection?
Probably about the only thing I have left to really find would be the white nurse's medic bag. Because I've had a nurse for about 20 odd years, and she came with a hodgepodge of equipment. And, as you know, that stuff, when you do find it, it's very highly priced. But she's about the last figure I have to bring into the collection. I mean, in a complete.
Yeah.
Then, of course, a complete set of talkers, because I can never hold on to them. Every time I build one,
The first thing I did was made sure I had a complete set.
Hey, Scott, you got a French talker?
I had Scott Beckman bought it.
Oh, there you go. Okay. I keep looking for one of those, but we don't see too many Canadian Joes down here in Texas. So
Yeah, that was a supreme oddity. I traded a talking Marine for that to a guy from the Mormon Church in Salt Lake City. I happened to be assigned to Dugway Proving Grounds at the time. He had picked it up while he was doing his mission duty in Quebec for the church.
Well, what do you know? Okay.
He wanted a U.S. Marine, and I could have that French-Canadian Joe, no problem.
Very cool. So I don't guess you see too many of those coming through.
Not really. I've seen maybe 2 in the last 40 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do you get most of your business from? Is it just word of mouth? Is it people at the shows? Is it website?
Word of mouth, I think, and then also the fact that I go to the shows. Whereas, Mike's kind of a social outcast. He doesn't do too many shows. And he's easily identifiable, whereas I'm not. So I let him have the internet, and I take the shows.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a fair statement.
We sometimes refer to him as Basement Mike because he doesn't come out of the basement.
My wife would probably refer to me by a comparable term too.
Yeah.
I probably spend 6 hours a day in the basement just attempting to get caught up.
Yeah.
Whether it be Fish or the Joes.
Yeah,
I mean, your big thing
is
is
man.
the talkers, right?
Hmm?
Your biggest thing is the talkers, right? Are you more of a flocking guy? Like, I know Mike's big on flocking.
No, that's Mike. He likes hairy things. So he can have all that flocking. I attempted flocking. Well, I flocked just about everything living in my house, to include the cat. And I thought, this isn't going well. And of course, Pam was on me about it. So Mike can have all the flocking that he.
Money, money, money.
I'll just do the talkers.
Very cool.
I'm giving you a run for your money there, buddy.
Mike, you haven't asked a
Your
single
greed
question.
will punish you one day, Michael.
Oh, he can't catch me. What was that you were saying, Jim?
I was just fixing to say, you've been awful quiet tonight. You hadn't asked Scott a single
I
question.
know.
I've talked to him
That's
enough
about-
in Messenger.
about
I don't really have a
Von
ton.
We've conspired heavily in terms of quality control and price fixing.
No, okay.
Yes,
He
and
asked
also
you
in,
about Von Kossel.
Von Kossel.
about what?
Mike, no one knows about Von Kossel, just you, me, and Ace. You really want to know what sick individuals we are in the books we read? Look up Carl Von Kossel.
Okay,
All right.
I promise I will.
Read and read.
We even took Jacob. He stood on top of the grave.
All right, whose dog?
He's got a dog.
Somebody just rang the doorbell. Must be early trick or treaters.
I just silenced him. So, Well, if there's no other questions, we're gonna have to go into the trivia. It's a little early for trivia, but
I
trivia.
got that figure that I want.
oh yeah. Hang on. Let me get you up big here.
Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see.
If you guys know, I just put out an album, and my band is Sergeant Van and the Highway Dogs, and I plan on doing a GI Joe contest to drive people towards my music so they can listen to it. And we've got this box GI Joe right here. It's vintage. You can see him in there. He's like
You think his scar's on the wrong side, man. That's a fake.
That's because I'm probably in a mirror image or whatever.
Mirror image.
One of a kind there.
But anyways, you can see on the back of it, it was given to. I got it from the original owner. It got it
Oh, that's
May
cool.
1967 for his birthday.
Very nice. So yeah, we got to figure out the details how we're gonna do this, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna get that all together, and we.
I
Maybe
mentioned
announce
it.
that
I
next
mentioned it on a live stream 2 weeks ago, and so we had a lot of people that were texting in saying, "Yeah, that sounds cool." So
Nice.
well, Jake, I'm glad you were joining us. I don't know if you're gonna know many of these questions from Slapshot. You might have to ask your dad. But the trivia tonight is Slapshot and Rock. Slapshot and Rock. So, Scott, you're gonna have to help everybody with these Slapshot questions, okay?
Do you even bother asking me?
Let's see. I figured being an older movie, everybody had seen it already, but I think only 2 people in this group have seen it, or maybe 3. All right, our first question for tonight. We're going to stop at the top. Medic Mike, you're up. Minor league hockey legend John Brophy is the basis of what character in the movie?
I have no clue. I've never seen the
All
movie.
right, you've never seen it?
Your turn.
Jim, you have no clue?
No.
Actually, we should just go back to Scott on all
Yeah,
these.
Scott. Just
People don't know the question. Scott has to answer. And if Scott, if you don't know it, then you're really not a Slapshot hockey fan.
Uh-oh. I think
Uh-oh.
you pushed the button.
Those are fighting words.
You pushed the button in his head there.
Ogie Oglethorpe.
No, Reggie Dunlop.
I knew that.
Jim, which Pennsylvania industrial city was the movie filmed in? And it was my
Pittsburgh.
hometown. No, it's my hometown. I've said it more than once on my show. Rick, do you know?
No, I was going to say Pittsburgh too.
Yeah, we're about an hour outside of Pittsburgh.
How about
Scott,
Harrisburg?
Tell him, Scott.
Johnstown.
Johnstown, PA. Thank you, sir. Where did the Hanson brothers play before joining the Chiefs? Chuck, this would be you.
I don't know. Scott knows all the questions.
He better know them all.
They played in the Iron League.
They played in the Iron League. You are correct. If we were playing Wheel of Fortune or something,
we'd
Scott's
suck.
got it all, man. Which song did Reggie demand that the organ player never play again? Scott?
I think it was Angel of Spain or something like that.
Lady of Spain.
Lady of
Spain. What did the Hanson brothers do before the game?
Put on the foil.
Putting on the foil, baby.
And that actually is an inaccuracy,
Oh, it is?
because I was on several teams where we had fighters, and what they would do is they would take weightlifting gloves and freeze them and then punch screen until the knuckles were abraded, and then wear them inside of their gloves.
The glove?
So when you drop the gloves, you were beating on a guy with weightlifting gloves that were already roughened, which made him look really ugly in about 20 seconds. So that is what putting on the foil originated from. It was just Hollywood could not recreate that
Yeah.
in an acceptable way.
Oh, wow.
What hockey league did the Charlestown Chiefs play in?
Izzy knuckles like this after a while.
Yeah. You're a goalie. Goalies don't fight, right?
Oh, come in the crease and find out.
What hockey league did the Charlestown Chiefs play in?
Oh God, No idea. The Industrial League?
Federal League.
Federal League. Yeah.
What happened when Ogie Oglethorpe got deported to Canada?
They refused to take him
They
back.
refused to take him. They refused to take him back. What year was Slapshot released?
79.
You guys are really aging. me.
77.
77.
1977, yes.
I knew that.
When the Chiefs started fighting the crowd, besides the fans and security guards, who else did the announcer say was standing up to them?
Come on, Rick. You know this
Rick,
one.
you know it?
Hey, I haven't seen this movie since 1977.
Need the Jeopardy theme
I
song.
think the popcorn vendors.
Yeah, the
and-
peanut vendors. The peanut vendors are
Something
standing
like
up
that.
too. Anybody know who directed Slapshot?
Paul Newman was in it, though.
Paul Newman was in it. Yeah, George Roy Hill. I don't know.
I wish Gordie Howe had directed it.
What did the Hanson brothers bring with them on their road trip?
I know this one.
Go for it.
Now,
Wasn't it? Didn't they play with race cars?
Yeah, they brought their toys with them. What other famous movie was released in 1977, which kind of took away from Slapshot?
Star Wars.
Star Wars, the first Star Wars. Yes, sir. The Hanson brothers are based on three actual brothers, Jeff, Steve, and Jack, who played for what team?
Well, they played for Johnstown.
Yeah, Johnstown Jets.
Then they also moved up, and some of them played in the NHL and the WHA, but in limited roles.
Yeah. What else outside of Johnstown? What were other parts of the movie filmed in? Where were the other parts of the movie filmed in? Rick, you should know this. It's up by you. Well, down from you.
Marion, Ohio, and Milwaukee.
Boston?
Syracuse, New York.
Buffalo, New York.
We know Slapshot was filmed in Johnstown, PA, but what other popular 80s movie was also filmed there? 1983.
Was that Madonna movie?
Oh, God.
No.
The Warriors.
That was last
Play
week.
on last week there.
That was last week's show, yeah. Tom Cruise was in it, actually.
Risky Business?
Nope.
Oh shit! I think I know this one. Damn it! I
Taps.
cannot remember the name of the movie.
I'm guessing Taps.
It was basically same premise as Slapshot, but with football.
Shit! I can't remember the name of the damn movie, and I've seen it like 10 times.
Yeah.
Fuck.
The Longest Ride? No, that wouldn't be it.
All the right moves.
Semi-
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep, that's the one.
All the right.
All right, we got a couple rock questions here. I'm going to throw them in for Jake. What iconic 70s band originally formed as Linda Ronstadt's backup band?
Can I phone a friend?
Yeah, your dad should know this.
I don't know. Is it Little Feet?
The Eagles.
Oh, the Eagles, man. That's
Yeah, the Eagles.
what a backup band. The Eagles.
Jeff Lynne, Roy Wood, and Bev Bavana were behind what British rock band that used a wide variety of instruments?
Yeah, ELO.
ELO, Electric Flower.
Yellow, man. Leonard Skinner had chart hits with both studio and live versions of what song?
Say that again.
Leonard Skinner had chart hits with both studio and live versions of this song.
Freebird.
Freebird. Yep. Which Eagles concept album was originally about anti-heroes, but ended up with a more Western approach?
Is the album called On the Border or something like that?
No, but you're close.
No. Close. I don't know the name of the album.
Anybody? No Eagles fans? Jim, I'm surprised. Desperado.
Oh, Desperado.
Desperado. Last question. What popular band released songs More Than a Feeling and Peace of Mind?
Boston.
Yeah.
Boston. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank our special guest. Actually, two, really. Rick, this is your first time. Jake, this is your first time, too. So I'd like to thank you guys for coming out tonight. But, Scott, I'm going to bring you up big, and you can tell everybody where to find you and how to contact you and how to send you more talkers, because you're short on talkers to fix.
He doesn't have enough to
I am
do.
never short on talkers.
Oh yeah.
But I would like to thank all of you for showing up, and I'd like to give a shout out to my friends, and I have a laundry list of them. Ace Allgood, Chris Muir, Dan Vinup in Maryland. He's the pervert I was talking about.
Okay. I got
Cotswold and Greg Brown. Chuck and Jake Van Voorhees, of course. Scott Stewart, who we are going to try to see how long he can hold his breath up to 3 minutes in Key Largo in a couple more weeks. Scott Beckman, the Bowinsky character, my long-suffering wife, Pamela, Buddy Finley in the Atlanta crowd, and Steve Stoville in the Louisville crowd. You can't go wrong with any of these people. I highly recommend them. Whether they recommend me or not.
Thanks, Scott. I guess I can probably return the favor.
Oh, you will. You
So
will.
do you want people to find you, or do you want to keep that a secret, or how?
Find me on Facebook.
All right.
Means Scott Wilde, Wilde. I'm not hard to find.
There you go.
And that's generally how most people find me, other than word of mouth at the show and stuff like that.
Great.
And the shows, inevitably, I always have the Chiefs jersey on.
Yep.
I may make it a point of wearing it now after someone told me that they walked right by me at a previous show wanting to give me like $800 in repairs and said I couldn't find you because I didn't have the jersey on. So I'm on the jersey back on the next show.
So it cost you money. Okay.
No, he ultimately found me.
Oh, good.
But and also to the nameless many people who have sent me repairs, thank you very much. And I'm happy I was able to restore your childhood treasures. And send me more.
Very good. Well, again, thanks
Most
everybody
of
for
you
joining
guys.
us
You all
tonight.
know how to find me anyway. So
Yep. Remember, next Monday, special guest, and then the Monday after that, we're doing the Halloween special where we're gonna have people pop it in, but they better be in costume. If you're not in costume, you can't get on the show. So everybody be prepared for that one. So, guys, have a great week, and thanks for tuning in. Take care, everybody.